Welcome to Beyond the Game. My name is Gregan, and today I'm chatting with SoMarcus, one of NAVI's VALORANT content creators.
If I say something, I will always get a message from my mum saying, "Marcus, remember, lots of people are watching you." And I'm like, yeah, I know, I know, but I'm not gonna not say anything.
So why didn't you try and go pro in VALORANT, or did you?
Yeah, I did. Obviously, I mean, some people know, some people don't. I used to do quite long streams, and then I would be ending because I wanted to go and practice. And then nothing ever came to fruition. Which is really annoying, but I still to this day would like to go pro. God knows how much M&M merchandise I have, but I took a picture like 6 years ago of my whole living room. I got it all together.
We say a lot, sort of name vaguely how many items you reckon. Like, we're talking 20s, hundreds?
No, more than that. I think like individual items, we probably including like socks, maybe. I reckon we're looking at about 100, maybe even.
You've got M&M socks?
Yeah,
okay.
I've got M&M custom made Converse.
Make sure to follow for future episodes and let us know who you want to hear from next. I hope you enjoy this conversation as we get to know Marcus beyond the game. We're now here on episode 23.
Is this 23?
Yeah, this one's 23. I think that's
How many have you released?
22.
Well, wait, it's on the next one to be. I thought you record.
Oh, we do sometimes, but yeah.
Okay.
I think that's a great little bit to include at the start.
No, I can add.
No, you're right, because I think when you came here last time, we had Meg on.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure you had 2 other recorded.
Yeah, which is, I think this is the first period where we're going to start getting back ahead again.
Oh my god!
You're the first of many that we're going to get ahead on. So
on the first one you're getting ahead on the first one that's actually come here twice.
Yeah. So you were here when Meg was on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know, we have started now.
Yeah, yeah. It's fine.
Because we kind of just sort of flow into it.
You can take anything from this.
Okay, that's disgusting. Can we cut away from Marcus when he does that? For the audio listeners, Marcus just stuck his finger in his nose. But anyway, we are going to be talking about what you do and how you got there, the journey to it and everything like that. But as you mentioned, you are the first kind of returning guest because you were you're actually the first person to come and watch a podcast as a friend.
Spectator.
Yeah, when Meg was on, your partner. And then you did have a few contributions, but mostly through being spoken to and not brought in.
Yeah, like my reactions that you couldn't see.
Yeah.
There's like my facial expressions.
But I had to get you on because I wanted to chat through all things that got you to where you are now as a streamer, content creator for NAVI, wearing the jersey, repping it. The official viewing party for NAVI.
Yeah, I think I am classed as their official watch party host.
Very nice.
Kind of cool.
And you've also taken a little bit of a step into commentary.
We'll touch on that.
So we'll touch on that a little bit. But first of all, I want to ask you a question about you as a streamer, because when you say streamer, it could mean a whole lot of things for everyone. I want you to sort of define yourself in terms of size, because I think this is a weird one. Like, I look at you and I see you in a certain way. I think you're a professional streamer, everything like that. I'd be interested to hear how you'd define yourself as a streamer.
I actually do have quite a few, people sometimes do ask me that, and it sometimes comes into conversation, and I always consider myself, and I always have considered myself actually fairly small, right? I think it's more of it's the difference between how you personally feel versus what you actually are, right? Because if you were to actually look at my stats and go on to Twitch tracker or Sully Gnome, I mean top 0.1% or something, because there are so many small streamers, right? It just makes the people who have 100 average viewers like me, makes them look bigger. But me personally, I actually don't think I'm that big in terms of numbers.
So you describe yourself as a small streamer?
Yeah, I suppose that is being humble, because other people that maybe have tried streaming would look at me as a big streamer, and most people that I do play with, they would probably class me as a fairly big streamer. And I suppose having the brand NAVI behind me helps, doesn't it? But I would class myself as a personally as a small streamer, but I definitely wouldn't say that numbers reflect what I feel like I can actually bring to a stream, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's also the time that you stream. So you stream in the morning, and I'd say you're sort of a medium-sized morning streamer, because if you got those numbers in the evenings, that's different, because that's where more people are watching and so on.
Yeah.
But when you're streaming Valorant, your main game, where you are frequently in the top 100, top 500, you're a Radiant Valorant player. What does that bring to your stream in terms of the entertainment value? Because you are a high level player. So is that the main focus of your stream?
Yeah. So I would say when you like how I would like describe my stream is high level gameplay, but also I do focus very much on entertainment, right? And I think this is one of the points that I will always pride myself on is being able to play at the, like I say, highest level. It's not like pro level, but the highest that I can at the moment go to in ranked, right? Every game usually has a rank mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not a pro, that's what you have to strive for, right? Is the highest in that rank. So, usually I am, top 500. Just so happen to be like top 15 right now. Weird flex. It's the start of the act though, so it will go down. But yeah, I would describe myself as like, the highest level of gameplay I can do possibly, but also streaming with a lot of humor and a lot of chat interaction. And I think I pride myself, on that a lot more than I think a lot of other people do, because obviously I'm not going to mention names, it's more of like a generalization. But when I see other streamers who have a lot of viewers, yes, it's a lot harder to talk to chat when the chat, is just going so super fast. But even if, like, let's say I get raided, for example, and I have a lot of people in, I still try and answer everybody, even while playing. There's obviously only so much I can actually do while trying to play at that level.
Mm-hmm.
But I will always try to, be a competitive player whilst keeping good levels of chat interaction.
That's the hardest bit, isn't it, for top players in any esports title, is being able to be a good streamer whilst playing. I think your personality really shines through in your ranked games because you are very willing to speak to your teammates in quite a, I would say, what's the word to describe it?
No, you can be honest.
You're very firm. You're very firm in your comms, and you can sometimes have a go at people when they're being a bit toxic or silly.
Yeah, and I feel like maybe this is like something that, obviously, when you had Meg on, and she would always talk back to, like, sexist men or whatever. But I will never go out of my way to be firm / aggressive with someone that doesn't, like, not deserve it, but like I always feel like if there's something that I can say, like, even if it's like how they can have done something differently, like, it's hindsight Harry, isn't it? And people hate it, even I do, but I'll still do it. I don't know why. I do need to stop doing it because it even annoys myself when I look back at my streams, but I do it. And I said do, by the way. And yeah, Mum and Dad always, like, you'll laugh at this. Usually during my stream, if I say something, and Mum and Dad usually always watch my streams, if I say something, I will always get a message from my mum saying, "Marcus, remember, lots of people are watching you." And I'm like, yeah, I know. I know, but I'm not gonna, like, not say anything. Like, I try not to be toxic, and this is one thing that I will always try and tell people. Like, I'm not a toxic person, but if someone, like, is, like, flaming me, I won't just sit back, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll always, like,
you say a bit, yeah.
Yeah, I'll say a bit.
Bite back a bit.
Nothing like that's, like, going to get me cancelled, because I'm not like that. But something in game.
It's normally very you're sort of logically flaming them.
Oh no, it's always to do with the game.
Yeah, it's never about them as a person.
No, ever.
You're always just telling them how they could have done something better or what they should do differently.
Yeah.
Or if they're not communicating or whatever it is, you'll be able to tell them based off their actions.
Yeah.
What I want to ask you though is, you often get presented as the toxic ranked warrior. Now I know you as a person outside the game, so I'm very biased. I know that you're a very kind person.
I'm very different,
very caring and everything like that. But in game, you can come across as a toxic ranked warrior. How does that make you feel when you get pushed into that profile?
I actually don't like it, and it's not a sad thing because, like, it's me that's kind of put myself into that position. But, like, even sometimes when I'm off stream. Like, for example, last night or the night before, I was playing some games off stream, which I never do, and people hear my voice and they instantly start kind of like they stop communicating, and they kind of, you can tell they're like, oh, fuck's sake, I've got SoMarcus on my team. But, like, I will then always make myself perform even better, and then they'll actually end up not apologizing, but like being friendly. And I don't want that reputation around myself. Like I want people to, if they see me in the game, actually be more motivated to win rather than to try and like just like give up type of thing. But obviously it's annoying that's kind of like some people's views on me. But I think, like you said, and obviously, yes, you are biased because you do know me in person, and people that don't know me but still think I'm a nice guy can also like vouch. It's kind of like I'm not like that, and I think it just takes. I think it takes a while to warm to me. But like to answer the question, like with a simple yes or no, do I like it? I don't, and I do try and actively change the way I speak sometimes online, just because like I don't mean to be rude to some people, obviously unless they're rude to me, but like even if it's just like me saying like you could have done this, or not even hindsight, it's like, can you do this for me this round? I think sometimes it's the way I say things, like
because you're quite intense in game, you're trying to win. That's how you've got to where you are in terms of high on the leaderboards. You're trying to win every time you play. But I guess do you feel like you get more toxicity towards you because of it? You said people go quiet when they're in your team, but do you feel like people are more willing to instantly tell you you're being toxic?
I don't think people are toxic to me because of who I am. I think it's a lot of people don't like being told, can you do this? A lot of people don't like someone leading in their games because, like most people, they just want to jump into a ranked game and play. But like when you're at this level, like what is it? Radiant's like top 0.1% of all of Valorant players. It's like I'm striving to win. Like this is. And even when I get into games with people that can scrim, like as in they have a team and they scrim, but they're just playing ranked. And actually it happens quite a lot. And you're like, mate, can you just communicate? You're literally a professional player. You get paid to play this game, or you're at least trying to, and you have a team. Why are you not being the best version of yourself in ranked? Because you're not the only one on the team. Like I'm also trying to win. So at least try and communicate to me. But some people don't.
I guess for a lot of pros, it's similar in Rocket League. A lot of the pros, when they play ranked, are just vibing because that's their vibing game mode, where scrims is their try-hard game mode.
Exactly, but I think some people need to learn the balance of like, as much as you want to vibe, there is game modes where you're not in a ranked situation. But obviously, and I never use that as I never say just go and play an unrated, because me for one hate unrated games, because I win the unrated game and I sit there like, okay, what did I just achieve apart from potentially warming up my aim? I haven't worked towards anything.
Yeah, it's even then, I'd rather play with my friends in a stack where it's majorly against us. Yeah. Like in a 5 stack, and then accept the loss, because at least then it's ranked, you know?
I've always been like that though. It's weird. Like even on Minecraft, I won't do a normal hard server. I will always make a hardcore server. I'm weird like that. Like I could put 2 weeks of like a Minecraft server and die. I'll be super angry at myself, but like, and I lose it all. But it's like I always like to push myself. Like I'll never do Call of Duty campaigns on normal. It will always be expert or insane, whatever it is. You know, Gears of War always used to be on insane mode, like the hardest mode. Like everything would be always a challenge for me.
So why didn't you try and go pro in Valorant, or did you?
Yeah, I did. Obviously, I mean, some people know, some people don't. I like to say I was kind of given a green light into trying to do a second team for Guild. You know, I was told like the players that I got, they would get small contracts. Like it wouldn't even necessarily be paid. It would literally just be like, you're in a team and we'll help support you. You know, we're even gonna give you a coach, and I'm still friendly with that guy today. I was managing the team, like I was organizing scrims and everything and trying to get people on time, and like it's me trying and putting all that energy into something that ended up not being supported by the people that said they were going to support it. It really demoralized me, and it did hit my stream a lot, because I used to do quite long streams and then I would be ending because I wanted to go and practice, and then nothing ever came to fruition, which is really annoying. But I still to this day would like to go pro. But there's definitely things I can do to improve on myself before I would go pro. Like my consistency sometimes is bad. Like I need to get into a habit of like actually aim training and just little things like that, because I can't just wake up and queue into ranked games, because that's what I do right now. Don't get me wrong.
So before that guild situation, were you looking to find a team at the early stages of Valorant, or did you not flourish into the level of play you are now until later on?
I actually did have a team. It's funny, actually. I had a team called, I think it was Mush Mush, and I think because I made the team with like some Danish guys, and that was great. I'm pretty sure we won like a CEX tournament, like a voucher thing, and I always remember three of the players couldn't receive the prize money because CEX didn't like, it was like the vouchers were in pounds, and my dad took all the vouchers and then paid each of the players how much the voucher was.
Oh, legend.
If that makes sense, because dad like is very into his movies and has his own like movie room and everything. So he was like, well, I'll just buy Blu-rays with them vouchers.
Perfect.
So yeah, that was nice. But yeah, no, that was the start of Valorant. Small team, little tournaments. And yeah, I've even from a young age, I've always wanted to compete on stage. And I've never ever got to that point where it's been possible yet.
You mentioned your parents a fair few times already, and I was going to ask you about them because I think your father is one of the most notorious fathers in the streaming space I've ever seen. He's always in your chat, as you mentioned, always watching your stream. So father, also very invested in your games. Has that always been there from your parents for gaming?
I think it took mum a lot longer to catch on. But for dad, because I think the reason I game is because of him. I always remember when I was younger, I used to like come home and he actually used to play games like Enemy Territory, Wolfenstein, Kingpin was actually one of the ones he used to have like a team on. He used to like back in the day, like I wouldn't obviously when I was younger wouldn't think of them as scrims, but they pretty much are scrims. He would like have like teams he would like join and like Wolfenstein, I think. Enemy Territory.
Yeah, Wolfenstein is one of the names you hear when you hear older people talk about the OG shooters, and no, I don't even know what the game looks like.
It definitely looks old, but dad will always tell me he was either a medic, but he was also the one that would send in artilleries, and he always used to get people report him or say he was cheating because he would know the exact lineups for some artillery strikes and would get so many kills. I think coming home from work and watching him do that, and his name when he was playing was Spookster. Spookster. Yeah, I don't know.
That's a good username.
I've never heard, like, I never asked him what the origin was, but yeah, he would come home from work or whatever, and I would watch him play, and I think that's kind of where my competitive side come from, and my gaming side came from.
So talk about growing up as young Marcus gaming. What kind of games do you feel like really made you fall in love with video games?
To begin with, it wasn't actually the competitive side. It was games like Halo, and it was games like Gears of War, where I would just sit and watch my brother play the campaign on them. And it's weird because a lot of people like to play the game, and I would actually be happy just to sit there and watch my brother play these campaigns. And obviously when I became like more of age where I could actually end up playing them, not that dad, because really it was dad's decision if I played a game or not. He never ever restricted me if it was like an 18 plus or something, because like I suppose we're them type of people that like I personally don't think games will affect how somebody grows up. I know there's like studies on it. I'm pretty sure most studies actually say that games don't have an effect on like if you become
there's
violent.
Probably not much evidence to show either way because there's such little time with gaming's been a part of everyone's lives. So
exactly.
To have people who've gone through that process. I mean, we had Mystic on and he was talking about GTA from, I can't remember the age he said, but he played GTA from a very young age. Now he's a pro gamer, so maybe it's actually a benefit. I'm not encouraging it.
No. No, I think it definitely could be a benefit. I think just getting used to just being able to play a video game, like the basics and the mechanics of it is probably quite handy. But yeah, it was like I think the first ever time that I kind of became more competitive was probably Call of Duty. And I remember when I was young, I can't put an age to this, but I was like young, maybe like 13 or 14 maybe. I was genuinely really good at Call of Duty, like genuinely. And I always remember this, and obviously I never know if this was true or not, but I tell people because I'm pretty sure this happened. I remember getting into a game with Optic Predator, right?
Okay.
Now to this day I still don't know how factual this is, but he was with there was like a lot of Optic players, and obviously when I think of Optic, they're like North American. So now when I think about it, I'm like, how true was this? But I always remember I got into a game with Optic Predator. I played well, and he actually asked me to do a 1v1 on Rust. And I always remember like losing 10-9. But like, I never know how factual
it could be. It's hard to know these days because it's so easy on things like Steam to change your name.
Yeah,
but
I mean, this was on Xbox on a
had,
gamer tag that you had to pay, what, £7, I think?
Every time you wanted to change it. And I guess the question would be whether they were on high ping, which you probably can't remember, whether they were over for an event, could have been. But there wasn't many events in Europe for Call of Duty and Halo and stuff. But
MLG, I think, was like the main tournament or TO.
Yeah, TO, yeah.
I think slang. No, I'm sure it was something like that. But yeah, I always remember that, and Call of Duty was like the first game where I was like, damn, I'm actually good at this. Moved to like Halo Reach and stuff. Never really competed.
Did you know about competition back then?
I did, yeah, and I always remember trying to sign up to MLG online, and it was like, I always struggled because I was young, and like there's always one part where it's like, you know, like potentially you've got to subscribe, and you know, I didn't have access to like a credit card or whatever, or like it was just little things like that kind of put me off. I think actually the first ever game where I kind of realized I was going to be potentially quite good at online competitive games on the keyboard and mouse was Smite.
Smite, okay.
And I was this close to potentially making it in Smite.
What is the barrier for you in going pro? Because this seems like something you want. You want to be a pro.
I've always wanted
VALORANT, there's no reason right now why you couldn't have been part of teams on the come up for the last 2 years, scrimming every day and everything like that. And obviously with scrims competing, you'd gain experience, you'd be better, you'd be in a better position. Whereas you seem to be in this position where you've not dedicated to being a pro enough to gain the skills of a pro player. It's
difficult when your job is being a content creator because you have to sacrifice quite a lot, and when you rely heavily on obviously your job, right? When you rely on that as like your main source of income, and if I was to cut down the streams to focus on becoming a pro, I just wouldn't. I'm always one of them people that always wants to make sure I'm always earning some form of income. I've always grown up that way. I would never like want to take a year off. You know, even like moving to London, I always said to myself, like, however much I'm paying to live here, I want to make sure at the end of that time, I have the exact same money that I entered with as when I leave. Because I don't want to be doing something at a loss. You know, I don't mind halting income, but like I wouldn't want to lose. But that's just a me thing.
Yeah, I guess the question then is how much money can a small to medium-sized streamer, in your own sort of terms, make?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always different because like you have different sponsorship opportunities, and I feel like I definitely made good use of having higher average when I first started out, because that's probably something that is quite interesting, is how quickly I actually blew up in comparison to the second year and going on to the third year. Because like for the first year, I hit 50,000 followers in 1 year on Twitch.
Oh yeah, that's good.
And had like 400 to 500 average viewers. And now, obviously, a little bit different, like 120 average. But I feel like I'm a much better person.
How does it make you feel when you see the numbers going down?
At first, it was a struggle, but then, like I mentioned right at the start of this, I don't think numbers reflect me as a person and what I can give people. So if people wanted to reach out, you know, for sponsorship opportunities, and not even sponsorship, like just like things that would be like collaborations and like with like brands, etc. I could give them a lot, not just my concurrent viewership, which I think is a lot. You know, if you're watching or listening and you're worried about your viewership, don't. Because as long as you yourself know that you're in a position where you can actually offer brands something that they want, then you'll be okay. Because that's kind of how I've come to grips with it. I used to always watch the viewer count, and I used to try and hide it, and then I just unhid it because I had the option to unhide it. And yeah, I was just like, I'm not going to keep on focusing on it. It's just not worth it.
You mentioned about giving a lot to the brands that work with you. You're wearing the jersey here today, the NAVI jersey. You recently joined NAVI as the watch party streamer, also some content for them. You know, I love seeing their tweets about you, especially around the rivalry between you and Meg, the Fnatic versus NAVI
it's
rivalry.
It's going to heat up again soon.
Yeah, when they have their match coming up in a few weeks, I think it is.
May the 17th.
So how did that come about and why NAVI?
So how did NAVI come about? Some of you, obviously I don't want, he always says that, you know, he doesn't want to take full like thanks for it, but I'll touch on him a little bit later. But Tom Biz definitely helped me with it.
Friend of the show, been on.
Yeah, good old Tom Biz, love him. My bald brother. Not that I'm like bald.
Is that why you went bald?
No, not for Tom. I'll explain that soon. Yeah, I used to have a lot of hair. Like when I was young, I used to have shoulder length hair.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Anyway, NAVI approached me on Twitter.
Okay. Still in the DMs?
Yeah, about 3 months before I joined, maybe a bit longer. And I was like, I got this message from like this NAVI, like, oh my God, I'm currently looking for an organization after Guild and these guys have messaged me. That's massive. And it was at the time where I was worrying about my viewership and how I was going to get another big organization to kind of want to get me on board. They asked me if I could like just what's my contact information, etc., etc. I never heard anything back, and I messaged them like 4 times. I was like, oh, it must have fallen through, and I was sad. Anyway, because Tom's friendly with a couple of them from NAVI, and they reached out to Tom and said like, do you know anyone that like would be a good creator? And I thought that was weird because like they had messaged me and then it kind of went blank. But I think obviously NAVI being a Ukrainian organization, I think sometimes it's difficult to be able to keep up on top of things with the whole current situation. But they messaged Tom, and Tom was like, I literally know someone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they said like someone that could potentially like be good at like doing like a little bit of commentary, like because they were looking for a watch party streamer as well as a content creator. And Tom was like, oh, yeah, I know someone.
Mm-hmm.
And then it kind of went from there. You know, I actually got into touch with someone from NAVI. Wasn't just like through DMs on Twitter. And yeah, it kind of happened quite quickly, really. Had a couple of conversations and all laughs and giggles on the call, and then yeah, it kind of went from there, which is, when I think about it now, me being in NAVI is wild.
Yeah, I mean, I guess with the shooting background that you have, I say shooting background, that sounds a bit dodgy, but shooter game background, that's better. NAVI are one of the top, having been at the top of CSGO for so long.
I can't believe I haven't mentioned CSGO. I have 5,000 hours in Counter-Strike.
Yeah, I was going to say Counter-Strike was where you came from before Valorant, isn't it?
Yeah, but I didn't have it went Smite into Counter-Strike, then both at the same time, and then Valorant.
Mm-hmm.
And Counter-Strike, I never made a name for myself. I say I never made a name for myself. If you do have anyone from like the UK Counter-Strike scene who watches this, they'll probably know me if they were in like the Face It hubs. Nightmare. And like, I'm sorry, but there's a reason that I kind of stay away from the UK scene as much as I can.
Yeah, UK CS is always getting a lot of flack, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not nice, but yeah, that's kind of where I made a name for myself, just in the UK scene, and not I didn't have like a brand or anything. I just played Face It and got quite good at the game, enjoyed it. I don't even think I had a Twitter at the time. Like when I look back at my tweets, it all pretty much started when I started streaming.
Yeah, and linked to Valorant.
Literally, yeah. And then obviously Valorant came about, and yeah, but Counter-Strike was definitely a big cause of why I moved to Valorant.
Yeah, so I asked why NAVI, and I guess the way you sort of spoke about NAVI there so gleefully, I guess it's because it's such a prestigious org within the space that it was amazing to be a part of.
Oh yeah, because I used to watch. I mean, still to this day, I watch Counter-Strike. I still love it. And like when you see like NAVI, like one of the top teams in the world, and I'm their content creator, and actually Simple mentioned my name to somebody else, thinking it was me, and he was like, "Oh wait, are you Marcus?" And they said no, and like when I heard that, I was like, "Shit, he knows who I am."
Yeah. No, I mean that's the big name in NAVI that I think if you said to anyone NAVI, they'd think, "Oh, Simple," because he's been a part of it for a while now, and he is the GOAT of esports. Even like a lot of people's eyes, even if they don't know Counter-Strike, they see him as one of the best in the world at esports.
Yeah.
Is that something that when you see a player like that, does that motivate you to want to be a pro, or does it make you realize it's so much harder to do than people think at first?
Definitely harder than people think. Definitely harder than people think. Motivation-wise, I don't think it motivates me any more than I already am motivated, but it makes me want to stay in esports. It makes me, because obviously Simple, he's like a veteran, right? I mean, he's not, I don't actually know how old he is, but he's not like old.
Probably late 20s, right?
Yeah. Well, when it comes to like esports, he's not like that old, in my opinion. And I would love to be in the scene for a long time, whether that be being a content creator. I think I'll always stream, honestly. Even if I know I say this when I'm like fairly young, but like I'm 24, it's not that young. But like even when I'm like 14, if I do have to work like in quotation marks a normal job, I would still come back and I think try and stream. Like I would, whether that be Valorant or not. I mean, you look at how long Counter-Strike's been going, and Valorant is typically run by probably a bigger and better.
Yeah, right. We're in a really good spot right now as a company.
Exactly. So I do think the longevity for Valorant is big. So as long as I keep that up. But yeah, I wouldn't say names like Simple motivate me any more than I already am.
Well, we've mentioned quite a lot here and a lot of games, in fact. We'll get onto your commentary ventures that you've been going on recently and some other stuff. But before we do, I want to find out your top 5 games. So we ask every guest their top 5 games. It's up to you how you interpret that. You can do it by influence on your life or just by how much you enjoyed the experience of gaming them. So kick us off with your top 5. Okay,
no order. I think order would be too difficult and I would feel guilty for some of the games. But I'm probably I'll do my top 5 off influence, I think. Not off enjoyment, because I wouldn't put Valorant on top 5 if it was enjoyment. Okay, so no order. I'm going to start off with like Valorant. Like it's started my career.
I think anyone who comes on this podcast who is linked to a specific game and doesn't say that game in their top 5 games.
Didn't Meg nearly forget it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. It's concerning.
Yeah, it is.
So you've started strong with the game that you're known for.
No order.
No order. What's next?
I think I would have to put Counter-Strike on there just for how long I played it and how much it made me realize as a competitive player how much I wanted to compete.
Okay. I mean, that was expected from me. Mm-hmm. It's these other 3 that I'm interested in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't talk about some of them. I would say, I think I would probably have to put Call of Duty up there.
Which one? You have to say which one?
Oof, really? Okay, yeah. Probably in my prime, Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah, I think that's the most popular one. So this is a fun thing, and I mention it every time it comes up. If you say a series that's long, like Pokemon, Call of Duty, or Halo, or whatever, something that's got multiple games, it's always interesting to hear which of the games comes up regularly. And I think Modern Warfare 2 seems to be the recurring, that's the best Call of Duty, just because the timing of it was such a popular time for Call of Duty.
Again, I am doing this off influence into like as a person. Okay. Right, because if it was like enjoyment, I would maybe put Call of Duty World at War on there, because it's not even my favorite, but it was the one that influenced me the most to want to do zombies. Now I'm a massive Easteregg fan. I would always I didn't care about high rounds. I really couldn't give two shits. I couldn't. Like, cool, right? High rounds, great. Obviously, I mean, people made careers off it. Syndicate and all of them people. But I was always an Easteregg fan. I would always get a team of 3 people together and nail the Easter eggs down. And
favorite Easter egg from that game?
Oh, that's a toughie.
My brother used to love getting that song, the special song that you could get.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of they actually did in Call of Duty Black Ops 1 on the map 5. Was it Black Ops 1 or Black Ops 2? Black Ops 2, I think.
I don't know how relevant that's going to be to the Easter egg, but
yeah, no. There's a song like that they call it an Easter egg where you have to hold X on the 3 phones, the red phones, and it would play an Eminem song.
And you're a big Eminem fan.
Yeah. But yeah, little mini Easter eggs like that. I was more like
speaking of Eminem, right? We're going to take a break in the top 5 games. We'll come back to it. Do you want to tell the story of how when you and Meg first met and you rocked up in an Eminem, was it Eminem hoodie?
I collect a lot of Eminem merch. Even to this day, I still buy the merch. Like, not even if I like wear it. Like, I just like want to collect it. Like, God knows how much Eminem merchandise I have. But I took a picture like 6 years ago of my whole living room. I got it all together, and
Well, we say a lot. Sort of name vaguely how many items you reckon. Like, we're talking 20s, hundreds?
No, more than that. I think like individual items, we probably like including like socks. Maybe I reckon we're looking at about 100, maybe even.
You've got M&M socks.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've got Eminem custom made Converse.
Okay.
Someone hand drew Eminem on them.
Okay. So yeah, back to the story of when you first met Meg.
Yeah, I know. I would rock up I did rock up in like an Eminem top, an Eminem hoodie. I had a chain on. In fact, I even went through a bandana phase. Like, I always remember Meg's like when me and Meg were first talking and we hadn't met because this was through lockdown. Meg's stepdad would like see Meg watching my stream and be like, "Why the hell is that guy wearing a bandana?" And you know what's funny? The first time I met Meg's stepdad, I handed him my bandana, and I think he's got it still.
Oh, that's amazing.
As a joke, like, because Meg kind of brought me out of that phase. I've definitely changed when it comes to fashion. Like, I think if I didn't meet Meg and I was like, let's say in the esports scene and I was on this podcast, I would probably be rocking like
an Eminem t-shirt or something with your Eminem socks on.
Trackies and a chain. Yeah, I'd probably be a bit of a mess.
Well, thank you, Meg, for saving Marcus.
Yeah.
So back to the top 5 games.
Okay, yeah, I know.
You mentioned Eminem, so I had to go on that. So we've got Valorant, Counter-Strike, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah.
And the last 2 games. Based on influence, you said it is how
influence
you're
on
going
becoming
for it.
a gamer.
Mm-hmm. I feel like you should have prepared for this.
I know, I did think about it, but now I'm on the spot.
Like, I sometimes forget to tell people about the top 5 games.
No, I totally knew you were going to ask me.
And the thing is, you watched it before. You've listened to it, so you know what's coming. So we're now on game 4 and 5, and you're stuck.
Again, in no order, it's because I've got so many. I've got 3 in my head.
Well, you can name all 3 of them. Just choose 2.
Okay, well, so in my head, I've got Halo, Gears of War, and Smite.
Okay.
As like games that have influenced me.
Which Halo? Reach was it? God, I've made this so difficult for you. Marcus,
I would say Halo Reach.
Okay.
Because I would come home and play Infected.
Okay.
You ever played the Infected mode on that? It's like one person is like with a sword and everyone else has pistols and shotguns.
Yeah, they did a game like that in Fall Guys.
Yeah. Was it fun?
No, it was awful.
I bet it was. Yeah, no, you know what? No,
I hate to break it to you, but no one's going to hold you accountable to these top 5 games.
I know, but the game I feel bad. Like,
I know you're a big old overthinker, but this is purely for entertainment reasons. You can name all 3. Maybe we'll give you a top 6.
No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be the first person to do that.
Okay.
I'm going to put Smite on there.
Okay.
Because I think as a person, Smite definitely molded me into who I am now when it comes to being competitive. Because that game, very similar to League of Legends, is a stress fest. There wasn't any comms. It was just like,
it's a fast-paced game as well, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is very fast-paced. Yeah, especially like it's all about like team fighting and everything. Yeah, I'm gonna put Smite up there because that definitely molded me and influenced me.
And your 5th? Should we flip a coin for it?
No, you know what? I'm actually gonna say Gears of War because Callum, CPK, his birthday today actually.
Happy birthday.
Very good friends of him, and one of the first things we ever spoke about was being very big fans of Gears of War. And I always remember this was one of the first games that I ever kind of like was not nervous but excited to sit down and watch my dad play. Because I would always come home and Dad would actually put Gears of War up on like the big screen, and me and my brother would sit and watch him in the movie room play it. And there's one scene, and I can't think if it was Gears of War 1 or 2, maybe even 3. And you have to cross floorboards, and if the floorboards break, you fall into a pit of wretches. Have you played the game? Are you
I
familiar?
haven't, no.
They're like
I'm following now, I think.
yeah, like wretches like ratty infected, like that have like
Their name describes them very well. I think it sounds like what I think you're
yeah,
describing.
they jump about and they kind of like a dog-like creature. But yeah,
I think of like Fade Prowler, but with
yeah,
legs.
kind of. But yeah, no, kind of, yeah, more human than like a prowler.
Okay.
But yeah, if you fell through the floorboards, you would like get ripped to shreds. And I always remember, like, I couldn't believe my dad would let me like watch this game at this age. But obviously, I think it was for the best because like it got me into games, and it was, I suppose, it was kind of nice a bonding session. It was always Friday nights. Mum was at work, so Dad popped it on so we could watch. Like I said, you know, it took Mum a lot longer to catch on to games and to support me in games more than
father.
Like I even dropped out of university to pursue streaming, and I
can imagine that was a big jump because I had a similar experience dropping out for Rocket League coaching, and it does take a bit of time to get that parent on your side that doesn't believe in it, especially when it's a big risk.
Yeah, I mean, even Dad wasn't like 100%. He was like, I think Dad was quite quiet about it. It's more like that thing where your mum would be more vocal. She was definitely more vocal about it. But no, I think hopefully now, you know, I know she'll watch this. Hopefully she now understands that the decision I made was for the better, because not only I've currently got a successful career, but it's made me very happy because it's something that I've always wanted to do. So yeah.
So what were you studying at university?
I was doing exercise sciences, sports and exercise sciences. It was a bachelor's. It was a while ago. I've been gaming so long, I actually forget how long ago it was.
Maybe about 3 years ago, was it? Around Valorant release?
Yeah, no, it was about 3 years ago. Yeah, 3 to 4 years ago. Yeah.
Is that something you still think you'd fall back to if the gaming stuff doesn't work out?
No.
I've
always said if the gaming stuff doesn't work out, I would be able to find just a 9-to-5 job. I'd be happy with it. I know it's easier said than done, but if like gaming one day doesn't end up working out, or you know something happens, I'd be happy to go to a 9-to-5 job. I really would, like just very basic office job. Like that really wouldn't bother me.
I think you're similar to me in a lot of ways around that. I've thought about this a lot recently, especially with the struggles to find work in Rocket League. I think when you work in a freelance space where every moment of every day you're thinking about your job, you're always feeling like you're not doing enough. You don't have that ability to switch off. I think the idea of a 9-to-5 job where you can clock out and just focus on your hobbies and enjoy life, I think it seems so much more appealing when you've worked on the other side where everything feels so overwhelming at times. So I can completely... Is that part of the reason why you think of a 9-to-5 job in that positive way?
Yeah, I just think it's like totally different. It's the opposite of what we do right now, right? And it's like actually waking up knowing that you're going to be doing this, be doing that, and it's very different to what we do now. Before that, I actually the only job that I've worked before gaming was being a waiter, and then I was training to be a chef for 2 years at the same place, like a small individual like private business in the town I grew up in. I'm still very friendly with the two owners, but that was I loved it, but also hated it at the same time, because when I ended up like being one of their like most relied on waiters, I like to think I was, and then to be like a training chef, it would obviously take up, like hospitality takes up like your Saturdays and Sundays and your Fridays, and like, you know, I did miss out on quite a bit of like going out, but I think the experiences that I learned from that like were life changing. I think like being able to talk to people. I mean, that obviously helped me as a streamer, because I would just get stuck chatting to people all the time. But yeah, no, that was an experience. I definitely wouldn't go back to hospitality. I'll just say that. And I think most people who have worked in hospitality will vouch and say that once you've left it, you don't want to go back.
You've escaped it in a way.
Yeah. But actually, one other quick thing, after it was either after or during university, I actually got a job offer at Lotus.
Okay.
Which is where my dad works.
Not the Valorant map.
Not the Valorant map. Nope. No. Actually, a lot of people don't know what Lotus is, because it's a very, actually, I suppose you can say it's a supercar, sports car.
I think of car when I hear Lotus,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't be able to picture the cars.
No, I mean, it's all like, you've probably heard of, they're always beginning with an E. So it's like the Lotus Evora, the Lotus Elise. It's always an E.
It's a very Top Geary car, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that works there. And then obviously I kind of went to Lotus and like tried to get a job and had an interview and actually really enjoyed it. The interview, it was got along well with everyone. They offered me a job at the same time as my Twitch it wasn't even like booming. I think my Twitch is like at 75 average people maybe. And
so you're getting started on
yeah,
that
and
journey.
I was like, oh, what do I do here? Do I choose streaming? Do I choose like a wake up at 6 a.m. type of job and get home at 4 or something? Like, is that what I want to do? And I always remember Dad was like, Marcus, mate, if you want to go for this streaming thing, give it a try, because if this is your only potential chance of doing it, it's not every day that you can get 75 average viewers.
I think the story there, I think, summarizes the esports privilege that a lot of people talk about. So you're in a position where your dad has got a pretty sustainable job. He's got that safety net. He likes gaming as well, so we could see your side. So you had that parent who could say, do it, give it a try.
Yeah.
The worst case scenario is you have to stop and then I can support you a bit and then find you a new job, whatever, right? That's where you get the parent support. Do you believe in that sort of privileged position that we're in esports is a factor as to why some people can go for it? Do you think there's people who are, struggling through trying to earn a bit of money every single day? Their parents aren't earning enough money to support them as well. Do you think there is a world where those people could go pro, could become big streamers and stuff like that?
Yeah, no, for sure. I do think so. I think it's very, again, like you mentioned the word privilege, right? And I would definitely say that still am in a privileged position as to what I do, because if I couldn't, or if something bad happened and I couldn't afford to in quotation marks live, I do have, mum and dad that would be able to support me. But it's like, saying that word privilege after the first year of streaming, it was so good. It was like, even like for income wise, it was just super, super good. So it allowed me to most likely work for the next 2 years without having to worry. It was, at the time I was living at home though. I was living at home. Again, you mentioned privilege. A lot of people do, move out, and obviously it's their choice. But, mum and dad didn't ever charge me for like, rent and everything. And maybe they wish they did. Maybe they wish they didn't. Sometimes I kind of think, sometimes I wish they did. So I could earlier in my life get a feel to what it's like to pay bills and what it's like to have money come up monthly, But again, I don't take that for granted. And yeah, I think that for sure in those positions, you just don't take it for granted.
Yeah, because I think there's quite a lot, especially with streaming, you need to have that next level of tech as well, where you need to be able to, have a PC that can stream, have the equipment that allows you to play at a good enough level,
cheap.
Have a camera, have a microphone, have good enough internet, all of these things that tend to be linked with a position of privilege. So it's something I'm starting to look into a little bit more, because I am sat here doing content out of my own money, knowing that if it all fails, it's not the end of the world, right?
You've enjoyed it though, that's the main thing.
I've enjoyed it. I've learnt stuff. I can carry on developing myself whilst losing money. And that's not something most people in the world can do. And again, similar to what you said, I was in a position where I earned enough money through the hard work in coaching, whatever it was, becoming successful there, to be able to fall back on no income for a bit.
Yeah.
And that's a position of privilege through my success rather than necessarily my background. But equally, the reason why I could take the risks I did initially in those successful areas was knowing that I could fall back on it. I think the year where I joined Guild, the start of that year, I could look at my income and be like, I cannot earn any money this year and I'll be fine for a year.
Yeah.
And then obviously you end up earning money, getting an even better job, earning even more money. And then the next year you go, well, I could not earn money for 2 years now and I could be fine. And so you can sort of snowball it, knowing that if all of it just comes collapsing down, you can always just fall back on the support of your parents for a bit.
For sure. No, I totally agree with you on that. But I think it's like a very stereotypical esports ecosystem, whereas like obviously a lot of people know that esports you can have good money in esports, and there is good money in esports well, in most areas of esports. I know sometimes there's not, but I think if you do have a good year, for example, like the period of time where I was looking for an organization, that period of time I set myself as a year to look for an organization whilst creating content, and I had that year-long find for an organization because of the prior years and how good, I suppose the income was. Mm-hmm. So it kind of gives you that flexibility to be able to be, in quotation marks, jobless for a while.
Again, you said there was a period of time where you weren't paying any bills or rent and you were earning money. So it's like that's sort of where that position comes in. I know there's quite a lot of people through esports success or content creation success have been able to support their family where their family might be struggling. So
I would love to do that.
Yeah,
that's actually a big motivational thing for me. Like, I mean, Mum probably wouldn't accept it. She hates it when I even just like give her a tenner for something. But like, I would love to like one day be able to. I'm not talking massive, but I would love to one day be able to like, I don't know, like not like I would happily take them out for a meal now and pay for it and feel good, but like not buy them a house, but somewhere in between, like be able to like
give them a holiday.
That's a good idea. Like that would be something that like, I could do that now, but at the same time I want to like earn that little bit more before I feel that I could do it.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was a joke that my parents came up with or I came up with, but we spoke about their investment in me and my brother of, giving us everything we could to achieve success. The idea being that if we're successful as adults, we can then pay for them to be in a nicer care home when they're older. When they're in retirement and no longer getting their pension in, we pay for their...
We all know how much care homes cost right now.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my parents' mindset, is invest in your kids so that they can pay for your expensive care home when you get to that stage.
How cool is that though? Like if you could actually do that, like it comes around full circle. Like obviously, and as a parent, they support and they pay for their children, right? Imagine when it comes full circle and they become older and then you'll become the adult. Yes, you may have to be paying for your own kids, but imagine being able to be in a position to actually give your parents something back because of what they've done for you. Be nice.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's a little bit of looking at our background and how fortunate we are to do what we do. And I do the reason why I say that is because I'm looking currently at the gaming space and understanding where people who are in the higher up positions can support the next generation. That's actually something we've mentioned Guild. I think Guild are starting to lean towards the academy being to support schools and give access to younger kids who might not have the tech at home to be able to game and experience it. And I think that's something that some colleges are doing as well.
What esports needs.
Yeah, because I think if you can't afford the tech, because let's be honest, it is getting more and more expensive to compete in esports as games become more high end. And let's be honest, if you're on a 30 frames per second monitor and a slow PC lagging all the time with bad internet, you're not going to be able to enjoy that experience. So the fact that schools are investing in that equipment, because that's what sport is, right?
Yeah.
Like sport at school is often a place where kids who can't afford the equipment themselves can get access to a hobby.
There's one thing I want to mention when you mentioned FPS. If anyone is watching or listening this and you are invested in your games and you currently have a 60 hertz monitor, right? If there's one thing I could tell you to do right this second, it's if you haven't got the money saved up, save up for a 144 hertz monitor.
At least
your life. And Meg is a good example of this. She was like, I don't need a 144 hertz monitor, Marcus. She changed. Like it's genuinely mind-boggling. I was always told the eye can't see past 60 FPS, but if you play on a 60 hertz, computer or monitor, go to 144 hertz, you will be a different person.
Yeah, because even the jump from 144 to 240, you can notice the difference. That shows you the eye can see it.
Obviously, a lot smaller difference.
It is, yeah. The 60 to 144 is the biggest jump.
I mean, I'm on 360 hertz at the moment. I mean, and I think Valorant is just badly optimized because I don't even get 360 frames, and my PC, I would say, is a bit of a tank.
Yeah.
But, even that it just feels so smooth.
Yeah, because I guess the whole idea of it is your eye can't see that much faster than 60, but if it sees every 60 frames, I mean, your eye can see faster than that 'cause it fills in the gaps. Anyway, the whole idea is if you can't see something that's between between frame 30 and frame 31, there is something that could come up on your screen between those frames and your eye would see it.
Yep.
And so if your lag in your brain from reacting to things is also having to deal with the lag from the technology, it's all like adds up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And even just like refresh rates and all those kind of things. Typically, higher frame rate monitors will also come with better refresh rates because otherwise what's the point in getting more frames? So there is all those benefits there too.
I know it's off topic, but I had to say it. You mentioned it and I was like, I have to say it.
I mean, it's one of the biggest secrets that a lot of top players have is that they have better tech. And people look at them and they don't think,
they have the idea.
And they don't think, oh, actually, that does make a difference. You know, faster internet, faster technology, better mouse, better keyboard, all those kind of things just add those tiny little milliseconds of bonus that you could get in any given moment.
Do you want to say though that obviously it's nice, that's good advice for like, you know, when it comes to like the competitive side of things, I would say. But and I always see this go around on Twitter, there was a big thread like if you are starting out, because obviously me being a streamer, you do not have to have all the best gear if you're becoming a streamer. And that's one thing I would stress is if you want to become a streamer, you do not need to splash out. You don't, because usually and most of the time you build your stream up through who you are as a person. Like, okay, you need I would say if you want to have a camera, like, you know, make sure it's like not a decent camera, but just like a camera that isn't too blurry, and even just like a normal microphone. Like there are definitely, you haven't got to spend $200 on a microphone. It's just them tiny things that people say, oh God, I can't stream because I don't have X and Y. And I'm like, you don't need that. People
also, you don't need to stream to get bigger. Just stream because you want to stream. Exactly. It's fun.
Yeah, that's also very true. Don't stream because you want to grow and you want to make a career of it. If you enjoy, like I always say, if you enjoy playing games and you like talking to people, just stream. Just turn it on.
Almost got to just stream for your mates, right? Like if you've got a few mates who like watching you play, because you said you like watching your dad play games when you're younger. Like I know Harry, who's the tech guy over there. Like I pop into his streams when he's streaming. He's next door. I could literally walk in the room and watch him play. Why do you stream? Yeah, so Harry's twin, Bailey, wants to watch Harry streaming. And that's how you should start, is I'm streaming for my mate. I'm streaming for my brother.
Yeah.
I'm streaming for, you know, my group who I play Call of Duty with. We all play at the same time. I'm live. And then that way people can watch the clips afterwards or whatever. You know, like that's how you should start streaming.
3 average viewers is actually good. Like I think people, like genuinely, if you don't stream and you want to like give yourself a challenge, try and turn your stream on and get 3 average viewers. Try and get affiliate. It's actually very difficult. Like if you obviously this is like for the normal person, because when I first started streaming, I always remember I would come home after like a shift as being a waiter. I would actually turn my stream on for an hour and play Fall Guys to 2 or 3 people. And those people actually still in my stream today.
That's amazing.
But they'll always remember I literally had my smart black shirt on and my trousers still, and I would stream for 3 people.
Yeah, when I first started, I was quite fortunate because I used to start with about 20, 30 viewers.
Okay.
Just because I was within a Minecraft community, the Nox crew, I've mentioned him a few times, and then I also played Rocket League with a YouTuber called Pyro Puncher. And he would essentially provide me with those first 20 viewers. Again, some of those people still come watch my stream to this day. They became my mods and everything, were Pyro's viewers who would come and watch me because they liked our Rocket League content together.
Yeah.
So I think that is a lot of the time when you see people start with more viewers, it's because they've got something, like they're a pro player and they made it. And so therefore when they click live, they got people, they know someone, they're the extra character in someone else's stream, and then they get one raid, and so a few of them stick around, whatever it is.
It's similar to how I kind of got I put in the work to begin with, and I ended up still putting in the work after, because, you know, you can be kind of, in quotation marks, gifted that 30 people, and that is what obviously happened to me. I did after going through the whole, you know, 3 average, all down, am I going to get 5 average now? I did end up getting a one raid that ended up people would come back to, you know, I'd get about 20 or 30 people, and it was kind of at that point where I was like, damn, actually, this is enjoyable. Even more enjoyable than it was to 3 people. I kind of knew that was the career I wanted to go into, especially when I enjoyed streaming to just 3 people. because it doesn't matter how many, it's about who, right? And it's the people that you stream to. And that's quite an important thing to take away, is definitely it's about who you're streaming to. Don't ever focus on how many.
I think that's the key, is the people who are doing it for the sake of the end result of becoming famous or whatever. That's where it becomes a bit unhealthy.
Yeah.
But the one question I ask everyone after the top 5 games, normally I forgot to ask you, so I will go back and just make sure we get it in there, because at some point
I talk so much crap. Sorry.
It's all right. That's the whole idea of a podcast.
True.
A lot of the
Very
time.
true.
What is your greatest ever gaming achievement? And it can be based off of a professional success. If you do that, I'd quite like to hear a gaming specific one as well. Something you've done in game that you're very proud of.
I mean, being a very competitive person, obviously achieving the top rank in most of the games that I play is like what I do, I suppose, but I wouldn't say it's like my best achievement.
What is the highest position you've ever got on the Radiant leaderboard?
I think now.
Now?
I actually think right now.
Okay.
Because
you got 10th recently.
I was 10th today during stream and then lost the last 2, and I think I'm now down to 19th. But yeah, I think that was the highest I've ever got. But yeah, I'm torn between 2 things. Now, one would be achieving like no. Something's come to mind that genuinely I think was incredible. It was actually playing in Spike Nations with Connor Ball, Curbs, Flights, and
it's really bad when you
that's
forget one.
Really
isn't
bad.
It?
I think it might be on screen. Yeah, Craig.
If you forget the one, it's fine if you forget everyone. But if you forget one person.
No, but it was a long time ago. I have done the other 2 as well, so it does all mix in. But that was incredible because I remember I think it was me on the screen and Flights, and then we didn't know who we were having, and it was Connor Ball and Curbs, and I think Curbs was like plat, Connor Ball was like maybe silver, maybe. And at the time,
he's like a mortal now,
he's great now. And I remember he said he would most likely only use scope weapons because he's so used to, I think, Call of Duty. And there is one clip when someone raised satchels up in the sky to get on top of the truck on Bind, and Connor was in a 1v1. It may have been the finals or something, or semis, and he just scoped in, tracked him, and headshot him. And
with a Marshal?
No, it was a Marshal or an Operator, one of it, and oh my god, the vibes. And we won Spike Nations. Yeah, I'm sure, we won the first Spike Nations, and that, I think, because that was for charity as well, I think that may have been one of the greatest achievements in gaming. And that's not actually like competitive, because it was more for charity.
It does feel good though when you win. I won Twitch Rivals, and that felt amazing.
Yeah.
And you often do the influencer tournaments on the early releases, and you often have your own team. SoMarcus's team.
Yeah.
And you're always a team that everyone's scared of because they know that you IGL a lot and you also pop off a lot. You get a lot of aces in those.
I do. Yeah. It's like a farm fest.
So you enjoy that competitive side, and being a higher ranked player playing in a sort of influencer tournament, you do stand out. Is that when you find the most enjoyment in gaming?
No.
When do you enjoy the gaming the most?
It's not even got to be a win when I enjoy games. It's being able to have, like, at the moment, when I most enjoy games, it's when you go into a Valorant lobby, all your teammates are talking, and it's the best, it's the closest you'll ever get to, like, an official game. And I've played official games, right? And sometimes it doesn't even compare to, like, having 5 or 4 other people on your team that all want to win. They all talk, they all communicate, and even if you lose, sometimes I'll say on stream, you know what, even if we lost this, I wouldn't have been mad, because everyone communicated, everyone enjoyed it, and there was nothing bad about the game. Like, and I actually don't, I think, you know, sometimes the good serotonin you get isn't always about winning. I do want to mention the other stuff that I was torn between achieving level 10 on Face It from Counter-Strike. I went higher than, like, obviously it caps at level 10 and you can go up a bit higher. I think I got to like 2,400 elo, and for me that was quite good for Counter-Strike. And I think the other close like achievement would have been playing in the It was the qualification tournament for the Smite Pro League. It was for the SPL. And this was back when I was working and I couldn't really have that much time off because I was a waiter. And I will always remember we had a team, we had a great team, really good team, and honestly we could have won. And I remember one guy bailed on like a day before the tournament and we had to give up our spot.
Wow.
Honestly, the team we had was so good. We had such good chemistry, and I honestly think that's why I say I nearly went semi-pro or nearly went pro in Smite, because I was so confident that we would have won that. But we had to give away the spot. It was very sad.
It's crazy, these little moments that could have completely changed your career. And speaking of that, I think you've taken a little bit of a trek into commentary and you've given that a bit of a go recently.
Yeah.
And I was excited to see that because I did feel like with your knowledge of the game, your personality, if you dedicated yourself to it, you could be a really good commentator. So you're quite early on in it still. And also you have the access to people like Tom, who you're good friends with, who can give you advice. So what was the biggest unexpected challenge you faced when starting commentary?
Biggest challenge?
The sort of thing that you didn't realize was going to be as hard as it was.
I don't want to sound too egotistical, but I thought it was rather easy. No. Seriously. Not
classic Marcus.
Yeah,
right
I know.
there.
No, not easy, but I think when a lot of I can't name like a commentator, a caster who is like as good as the game as I am and has the same knowledge. And I think actually that knowledge that I have about the game makes me a very, very good color caster. Play by play, I sometimes do end up, in the heat of the moment, I sometimes take out. I cast with someone called Retro. I don't know if
I know Retro.
He is such a nice guy, and the first time we casted together, he made that like flawless for us, and he would obviously do like the main, be the main guy, and I said to him before, like, just pass it on to me if you need to, and I can just talk absolute smack about everything. Like, and I think the knowledge that I have about the game made color casting quite easy. I think the only challenge. Okay, there is one challenge I faced. And it wasn't even like the ums and the ahs, because I feel like sometimes, like the first game I did do that, but the second game I didn't.
Yeah, you quickly learned to improve that stuff.
Yeah, I think it was the way I spoke during the color cast. Like sometimes I would talk so slowly and try and put so much emphasis behind what I'm saying. The round had already started, and then I was taking over the play-by-plays kind of bit, and I had to kind of hand it off to him like more unnaturally than I wanted to. So it's more about, I think the main challenge was actually getting to the point.
Though, do you know that's a very common thing? I have the same problem in Rocket League.
Yeah.
Because I can see so much more than the average person. So I've got so much I want to offload, and learning to actually just say, right, pick one of these 3 to 12 things in your head that you're thinking of right now and just say that.
But you have to remember who you're casting too. Like the majority of people don't give 2 flying donkeys what you're saying. But if you pick the main thing, they do care what you're saying. Yeah,
and the things which you can see that most people can't, if you can highlight those very briefly, it will add value to the cast, which is what you're there to do. Exactly. So I guess that's something that many smart people coming into commentary will struggle with. And sometimes that's why the commentators, a little bit less are often a little bit more entertaining, because they aren't thinking about as much.
No, I agree with that. It's funny. I think it's kind of come full circle, because back in Smite, there used to be this, I don't even know if they're going still, and I'm pretty sure they used to do things for Call of Duty, was the EGL. It was the European Gaming League. And I remember I must have been like 15 or 16. I wouldn't say I have the deepest of voices. I would actually offer to cast some of the Smite games, and this is when I was 15 or 16, I think it was, maybe 17, I don't know. But I remember, I tried finding the VOD and I just couldn't find it, but I'm sure people tuned out for that. It was like, oh my god, I can't. It was like
still high pitched.
It must have been so high pitched. And sometimes I have to kind of like, even now, because I don't have the deepest of voices, I sometimes kind of have to put on like a little bit of like deeper.
Yeah, I've had to learn to use my voice differently. I actually got voice training when I did Clash Royale. They were very good to us. They gave us a 2-week development phase beforehand, where we learned a lot of tricks. Because some of the people, it was their first time doing broadcasting. Yeah. For me, I'd done a bit of broadcasting, but not Clash Royale. So for me, it was learning about Clash Royale. But we did a whole session around talking with people speaking in your ear and learning about the skills there. about improv and all that kind of stuff. And we actually got to have a voice training lesson with the guy who does the voice of Kung Fu Panda when Jack Black's not about, so for adverts and stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he's done all sorts of other voiceover work, and he's very good at replicating other voices. So he was teaching us all this stuff, and we got taught how to warm up our voice, how to enunciate our words better, which was something that I was already fairly proficient in because I was born in south of England, where you get taught that from a young age anyway at school. And then all these other things like how to talk deeper. So like right now, I'm talking from lower down than I used to be a throaty speaker, and I'd speak up here, and now I try and bring it down, and it makes your voice more velvety and slightly deeper and all that kind of stuff.
Know where my voice comes from?
Yours, I think is
comes from my body.
I think it's a bit higher up. Do you find that you lose your voice easily when you're casting?
No.
Because I think that's the biggest thing for me that this taught me, was to cast with my lungs a bit more, and it means that you end up keeping your voice a lot more. So I never have to really do voice protection stuff at events. I also am on the desk where it's not as shouty.
Yeah, no, I get that. No, I think the only time I ever lose my voice is like if I'm at the front of an Eminem concert. But apart from that,
of course you would.
No, I would. Yeah, or like going to a theme park. But I don't even. Well, I'm a big roller coaster fan. Like the family holidays was like to Florida and everywhere, and like even like locally, and I would always lose my voice when I was younger, not because I scream on the rides, but because I was always talking like in the queue, like I was so excited. I'd always find I lost my voice. But yeah, no, I think casting commentary for me has been fun. It's definitely something I want to continue doing. I am continue doing it. I think I've done so far 3 days worth. So I think so far I've done 2 series on the first day, so 2 best of 3s. Second day was 2 best of 3s, and I've done another 2 best of 3s.
Well, hopefully we get to hear more of you.
I've got some more. May the 10th. I'll be casting more Valorant.
I'll have to tune in and give you some feedback, because I think there's the other thing as well. I asked you what's the biggest unexpected thing that you learn, and it's recently it came up in another podcast that I did, which won't be out for a few months, but we spoke about the Dunning-Kruger effect, and it's kind of reminded me about it. It's the idea that incompetent people don't realize how incompetent they are because they don't know what competency looks like. That's one way to describe it. It's like
not overly smart. Let's put that in.
Yeah. So people who aren't good at things don't realize how bad they are at things because they don't know how good you can get.
Okay.
And it means that they over-evaluate themselves as being better than they are because they do believe they are in the top, say like 70, they're in the top like 10% of people, because in their mind, they don't know what the people above them actually are capable of.
Yeah.
And so the classic thing you see in ranked distributions is plat people think they're better than they are because they think they know everything, but they don't know the stuff that you know as a Radiant player.
At Harry?
No, it's not a shot at Harry. We actually spoke a bit about it, and I'm thinking about exploring it a bit more. But like, the more you rank up, the more you learn stuff, and you learn stuff that you didn't realize was there. And so maybe with you with casting, you said it's quite easy. Maybe there's stuff that you don't even realize that you can improve on yet.
I always ask for feedback. Like even after the first game, like I think maybe I was even mid-cast, and not mid-cast, like mid. No, I'm talking quickly. No, I think it's like I'm always looking for. I even messaged Tom after my first series and said, "Did you tune in at all?" And he said, "Yeah, no, I watched some of it, and this is like I actually liked it and enjoyed it, and you have good knowledge." And I think the main thing was like the ums and the ahs, and then I kind of sorted out for the next series. But yeah, no, I think I'm more. I think I say I'm good at it because I'm more confident on what I'm saying rather than how I'm saying it. I'm not trying to say you're not good at it. Right? I haven't checked it, but like in Rocket League, we have a guy CJ who is probably one of the best casters already, and he's an ex-pro. He used to come on the desk at events that he wasn't qualified in, or after he got knocked out at an event. He's an OCE player. They're always hilarious, and he's great because of the fact he's got the personality for camera and everything, and he instantly picked it up and so on. And so I do believe there is a place for ex-pros, personalities, streamers and stuff to come into commentary and do a better job than the average person. Because ultimately, there's a very small percentage of broadcast talent who are actually taught how to do it properly. Like we've had Ian Chambers here. We've had like Frankie, for example. And these people went through the education process for broadcasting and went away and honed their skills
through radio and things like that. And then they came to esports with those skills and the love and knowledge of the game that they were going to work on. And very few casters actually learn to cast, learn to be broadcasters.
Yeah, I don't think I would ever even have the opportunity to learn, to be told how to do it. I think that's just more like I learn myself, watch other people and learn. That's kind of how people learn how to play Valorant. They watch me.
Mm-hmm. Well, you taught me a lot of what I know.
How to rage and be rude.
No, how to IGL.
Yeah?
No, I think everything is all about just learning from lots of other people and developing those skills. But I do believe we are getting close to the end of this podcast here. We've covered a lot, and I've thoroughly enjoyed chatting to you about various bits and bobs. And I think you as a person represent the typical personality within a specialist game.
Mm-hmm.
You know the game inside out, you play it to a high level, but you've never committed to the pro side enough to be pro. So therefore you're in this position of streaming, commentary, working with orgs to make content for them and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's really a credit to you that you've been with two big orgs, with Guild and NAVI, because they saw that in you. And hopefully we'll start to see that shine through the commentary, and maybe you'll be that favorite caster for a lot of people in VCT one day. And
maybe I think more big time it'll probably be like analyst. I think if I was to go down,
you get on the desk and
I think I would do well on the desk.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you now, the desk is the easiest bit of the job. So don't let any desk analyst tell you otherwise. It's the easiest job on the show.
Yeah, but Rocket League is just like a car hitting a ball, right? That's it. There's nothing else going into it.
Dunning-Kruger in full effect right there. But no, I think we'll end it up here. And again, thank you for being the first returning guest.
That's okay.
Which is kind of weird because you're not, but maybe we can classify it as that. Harry is technically the only returning guest every single show.
He's classed as employed, so it doesn't count.
Yeah. Way to rub it in. Unemployment life hitting hard. So we'll end it with the same question we ask everyone. And that is...
I can't remember what you asked Meg, oh boy.
What's the final question then?
No, I can't even remember. That's what I was like, I can't remember.
What does gaming mean to you?
Lots of things. What does it mean to me?
Mm-hmm.
Not really. Like, I never...
You said a lot of things, so go through them.
Yeah, like, I don't know how to answer that. What words am I trying to find? What does it mean to me?
Yeah.
Like...
That is the final question, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going crazy. It's not this hard normally.
No, there is. What does it
mean to me? Yeah, that's the question.
What is it? Why can't I answer this? Like, I think it means a lot.
Yeah, that's fine. That's an answer.
I don't know. I think it means a lot to me because it is my career.
Yeah.
I think
that's a meaning. Yeah.
Yeah, good. I think like it molded me as a person.
Mm-hmm.
It was a big part of my childhood.
Keep going. This is great. This is good stuff. Keep it up.
What other stuff is there? No. I think the key points is it's molded me as a person, and I think like not even just in gaming. I think it's gaming has been key to me, just to make me who I am. Like I think it's brought a lot of my personality out. Obviously I mentioned like childhood. That's kind of the same as.
It connected you.
Me.
I feel like I need to answer this for you.
Yeah,
connected you with your father.
Yeah.
In many ways.
Yeah.
Helped you with your career. Helped you meet your partner.
Yeah.
It's your social life now.
Yeah.
It's your hobby.
Mm-hmm.
It's your career. It's your income.
Well, it's great having you on the show, Gregan. I'm gonna wrap it up here, guys.
So it's literally everything.
No, it does mean everything.
Yeah.
Like I think there was too much to say.
Yeah.
Like obviously, I think one of the main things, obviously, like you mentioned about Meg, like meeting Meg, that would have never happened. I think that's been like one of the biggest things in my life. I think you mentioned some good points about that. I think they're the hardest questions to answer, the ones that are like, you have so much to say. It's like a really broad question.
Yeah.
It's not a downside about the question.
I mean, it's interesting
that's why you
because
answer. Why you
I
ask it.
Yeah, it's everything has been the answer for a lot of people when it is everything. For some people, it's an escape. For some people, it's their career.
Yeah. I think it's like, yeah. No. I think you answered that question so well for me.
To be fair, I've heard 22 other people answer it, so I've kind of got
easy.
gist of what gaming means to a lot of people. But I think we'll call it there, Marcus.
Yeah,
Thanks for deeping it at the end.
That's okay. That's fine.